Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching accesstv.org.
I want to welcome you all for coming. As you all know, that there is going to be an election in November, and that election is for the Board of Education. How many people in this room know there is going to be an election in the... Okay, my God, only 3 people? Oh, okay. All right, well, you see, we got to figure out how to get it work. Not because you guys are not being challenged. You still need to get out there and get to know people and find out what are the issues pertaining to the Board of Education. That's how you learn, and that's how you get to know what's going on. Anyway, I'm here because we invited them because we want them to tell us who they are and why they think they should be running for Board of Education. And what are they going to do different from what the others has done or hasn't done. So anyway, I'm going to go, the ground rule is going to be like this. You're going to take 5 minutes, or if you want to take less, it's okay, to tell us who you are and why do you think, who you are, and why do you think you're running for the Board of Ed, and what makes a difference you're going to make in the Board of Education.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Gonzalez. Thank you all for the invitation. Yeah, Hyacinth was right. I kind of drop out at the beginning, but I say, you know what, the Board of Education need parents. I'm a parent of 2 children in the Hartford public school system, and I believe it's time for a change. I want to be part of that change. That's why I came back. I'm going to be running as a write-in candidate. Write-in meaning that you need to write down my name on the line and vote for me. It's going to be a little harder because my picture isn't going to be in the ballot, but it's not going to be difficult because my faith, and I believe that I can do a great job at the Board of Education. One of the reasons that made me run for this position is because when I first came to Hartford in 2000, I found out that my daughter was being bullied. I didn't want to do anything at the beginning. But all of a sudden, when you have a 4th grader that comes to you and tells you, Daddy, I don't want to go to school anymore, I'll open my eyes big. What's going on? So, I went to school, and it was a Betances school at the time. It was hard work for me to get to talk to the principal of that school. And I noticed how hard it is for parents these days to get to get to a certain point, even with the teacher, with the principal, or even if you go up a principal, how hard it is to communicate with those people. And that's why I'm here. I educate myself. I met during the wedding a bunch of good people. They taught me how the system works, and I decided I don't want more parents to went through what I went. I want to be part of the change, like I said, and all of you that have kids in the school systems right now, I'll be representing you as a parent. I don't want you to be going through what I went. All your kids, once I am elected, all your kids are going to be part of my family. I'll be representing all those kids in Hartford. Thank you again for the invitation, and go out and vote November 5th on the writing line, Joe Gonzalez. Thank you.
My name is Robert Cotto. I'm currently a member of the Hartford Board of Education, and I'm running for re-election for a 2nd term on row C with the Working Families Party. And I just first off want to say thank you to Hyacinth and also the MAR group for having this event. I remember my first forum as running for Board of Ed was, I think, here in the basement 4 years ago. And I think Hyacinth, she wasn't so happy that I was running. I don't think she was as nice to me as at that time, but I'm glad she's nice now to me. I appreciate that. That's nice. She's a tough customer, so I appreciate that very much. Thank you, Hyacinth. So I'm running for re-election, and one of the key issues is that we're going to have to work really hard together over the next couple of years for a better education for our kids. And the biggest challenge, the first step, is going to be looking for a new superintendent. We're going to be going over that process over the next couple of months. I'm currently on the search committee for the new superintendent. And I think what we're going to have to look for is someone that really works with the people in the various communities that we live in. And I think what's been tough or what's been difficult in the last couple of years is we've had a number of superintendents that have come in and they've said, we have this program or this set of things that we want to do. So they said, we're going to do more testing, we're going to do more school choice, we're going to do more bonuses, we're going to do all these sorts of things. And for a short period of time, it looked like that was actually working. And at this point, what we found is like, maybe it didn't actually work out the way that we thought it did. And so people are confused, they're upset, and they're looking at the schools and they're saying, well, how come my school has this? And the other school has that plus art, plus music, plus phys ed, plus a gym. And I think people are starting to look around and see, well, choice didn't really solve that problem. Testing didn't really solve that problem. And I think people are getting more and more frustrated kind of in the different communities about these sort of disparities and about the fact that these sorts of things from the top down didn't really address the concerns that people had in the various communities that we live in. So I'll give you just a quick example, and that's something that I worked with Hyacinth on. Hyacinth came to the Board of Ed about a year ago, and she said, all this busing and all this school choice and all this stuff going on, the kids at Hartford High School were getting to school so late because of the bus schedule and getting out so late that they couldn't get to their after-school sports and they couldn't get to their jobs after school. So she came to the Board of Ed, and no one wanted, Hyacinth comes to the Board of Ed all the time, and she comes with concerns, but no one wanted to listen to her. The mayor sits on the Board of Ed, plus his 4 appointees, and they said, no one wanted to talk to her, no one wanted to listen to her. And as one of the elected members, I said, we have to be responsive to people in the community. I mean, this is an easy fix. We can fix the schedule. And so what I did is I convened some meetings and we got a group together and we were able to change the schedule for this year to get the kids going into school a little bit earlier so they could get out to take care of their, their brothers and sisters after school, their after school sports, and that sort of thing. And it's that sort of collaboration that's really been missing over the last couple of years. Even on really basic sorts of things that we're looking at that this has. So, moving forward in the next couple of years, I'm going to continue to be a voice for the various concerns in the community, the things that I've been doing over the last couple of years, and reaching out to people and trying to be collaborative with folks in the different communities that we live in. So again, I look forward to some of your questions, and again, I'm on row C. So, thank you.
Well, good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Craig Stones. I'm a lifelong resident of Hartford. I'm from North Hartford, born and raised. I attended Rawson School, Fox Middle, and Weaver High School. I've been a 20-year community activist, and I'm currently elected to the 5th District Town Committee, which is also up North Hartford, serving the northeast section of the city. I'm a parent of 3 boys who are in the school system. As many of you know, or some of you may know, my mother served on the Board of Education, previously with the Working Family, and then was reappointed by the mayor. And I would like to address some of the concerns that we have in our neighborhood schools. Our neighborhood schools are being left behind. We have a system, a 2-tier system, where we have a magnet school competing with our neighborhood schools. The neighborhood schools aren't getting a lot of funding that they need in order to, in order to bridge the achievement gaps. Thank you. So what I propose is the mayor has a neighborhood initiative, and I believe if you truly want to have school reform, you need to partner with this neighborhood initiative. You can't change the inside of the school community if you're not going to address what's going on around the school community. So I propose working strongly with the NRZs, with the town committee, and with the city in order to have a collaborative approach on how we reform our schools. So I propose a series of things, but I don't want to get into that now. What I want to talk about simply is how we should work together. We have, like Robert said, we have a new superintendent search going on, but we also have Common Core standards being imposed in implemented in our school system now. And that is going to prove to be a more challenging process than selecting the superintendent. The Common Core standards, it's a new process, it's a new mechanism to try to bridge the achievement gap and make our students more competitive in a global community. And some of the concerns that I have with Common Core standards that had not been answered by the state or even the federal government is when it's implemented, how soon is this Common Core going to be implemented citywide? What is it going to do with the existing testing that we have now? How is it going to translate? Who's going to design these tests? How are we going to have input in that now as we're searching for a superintendent? So we have a lot of things to focus on. We have a lot of issues to address, and I just want to get you guys to think that we need your help on a state level. We need you to watch our state reps. We need you to communicate with the State Board of Education and the Department of Education. We need your support on task force. We need your support in PTOs. We need your support on governance council. We need a wholehearted effort by all the residents and all the citizens of the city. And I'll leave with that right now, and hopefully I'll address any other concerns after that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Parker, and I also, like many of us who are running, am a parent with 2 kids in the system. And it's kind of funny to me because this is not where I envisioned myself being. I'm a faculty member at University of Hartford, and I'm a research scientist at Hartford Hospital. And I guess I never, when I envisioned where I'd be at this stage in my life, thought I'd be running for the Board of Education. But when I started talking about the Board of Education in Hartford and talking about parents, as we all do at bus stops and at school community service events, one thing that I heard echoed over and over again amongst parents was a sense that these elected positions are not meaningful, because 5 positions are appointed by the mayor, and 4 elected positions therefore have less power. These are people serving different interests, possibly coming from different backgrounds. And the more I thought about that, the more frustrated that I got to myself of that mindset or that perception, because I think the beauty of 4 elected positions is that we can ask the tough questions. Our responsibility in those elected positions is to ask the critical questions that are plaguing Hartford Public Schools right now and be a conduit for bringing that voice to the board. And in a way that's kind of freeing, because we're elected officials, and that's our job to ask those questions. So when I think about those questions and I think about who should ask them, I think to myself, the people that need to ask them are people that engage well with the community, people that are collaborative, that work well together as elected officials, that bring the power of 4 people together to ask good questions. People who seek data, people who ask for numbers, people who ask for alternative ways of analyzing things. So when we look at CMT data, for example, that tells one portion of the story of academic achievement. We all know that as parents. We don't pick schools based on CMT scores. I have never and will never pick a school solely because its CMT scores were better than something else. I pick a school based on environment and teaching the whole child, and the approach to obstacles to learning, and the involvement of the community and the services that it can provide. And we recognize that, but yet we continue to judge our schools by one rubric. And we continue to consider whether they're successful or not by their test data. And that's a quantifiable data point, and I understand that, but I think Board of Education members need to ask for a more complete picture. And if we don't have one, we need to create one. And I think we also need to ask ourselves the question and distinguish between the concept of reform and resources. They're 2 very different things. When you talk about school reform, you talk about dramatically changing the trajectory of a school system. When you talk about resources, you talk about meeting the needs with the resources you have available that is unique and is appropriate for each individual school, community, and geographic area. And then finally, I think when you talk about Hartford Public Schools, you talk about the identity of the school system itself. Whose needs are we meeting? We all know that we're in this for the children, but we also, at the end of the day, need to ask what is our identity as a school system? Where do we want to be? Where do we want to go? And then we need to identify who can lead us there, the best qualities in the superintendent, how we will evaluate that person, and give that person the opportunity to take us into that direction with meaningful and thoughtful consideration. So when I think to myself, who can be a good board member? I'd like to think that it can be me. And obviously that's up to the voice of people that would elect me. But I'd also like to think that whoever it is, whether it be me, whether it be someone else, whether it be any other individual, that that person's voice will be the conduit for everybody in the community to raise these questions.
My name is Mike Gresher. I'm a retired high school teacher, and I taught at Buckley at the old school and the new school. Also taught at the Hartford Adult School the last 4 or 5 years of my career. Was teaching with the people of the adults and those students who left the normal school and came to us. Now, before I go any further, I have to apologize for being late. And being a teacher, that means I'll probably have to stay after. So you'll excuse me, I hope. Now, what I've heard from all the others, I have to agree with wholeheartedly. We have a good system. And why do I want to run? Because I could say the trite thing and say because I want to make a difference. But I do want to make a difference. I want to take things that are good and make them better. However, I like to take things that are not so good and turn them around. We spend an awful lot of money for schools. We spend more money per pupil in the whole state. And yet you look at our scores, they're not at the top. Something's got to be done so that, and these students are not unable to learn. Something is happening where they're not learning. Now, parents maybe, well, the parents are active, the administration, the teachers are doing their work. So we've got to work together. You know, there's 3 things: parents, administration, and students. That's the triangle that will make schools good and get better. If one of those legs of the triangle fails, we all fail. We've got to get these students so that their scores, because you see, when they finished with me, when they finished with the schools, when I was teaching, they weren't finished. They were just starting out. They were going to go to other schools to learn more, or they were going to work. Now, if I didn't prepare them, or if we didn't prepare them for this, where did they go? Nowhere. And we can see this, the economy and so forth. So what I'm saying is that all of us have to work together, and we have to recognize things that are working and admit to ourselves and others things that are not working, and let's change them. Now that's what I have to say tonight. However, I came not to just convince you or try to tell you what I'm going to do or try to do. I want to hear what you have to say, what you want me to do if elected, and I will work for you.